great turnout. A few years ago, Milan came to me for advice. He told me about how much he loved rebuilding computers, and he wanted to use his special skills to do good. Rather than just thinking about doing good, Milan sprang into action. He created FixN'Give, where he rebuilds the computers and then redistributes these fixed computers to children in need. Not only did he do that, but he also recruited some amazing students to help, and they have a fantastic organization and want to thank all of you tonight for your contributions. Not just a social entrepreneur, Milan was also interested in local startups. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Milan.
Thank you all for coming out on this evening to the Entrepreneurship and Technology Symposium. I hope you all will have an enjoyable and stimulating evening as we hear from top business and technology leaders in Cincinnati and get an inside view on their thoughts. I hope that this evening may even spur some in the audience to create their own startups. The idea of this evening came to me as I reflected on my experiences interning with Cincy Tech and with Ekron Systems while having Mr. Vora as one of my mentors. I thought about how great it would be if we could bring them all together and to have them discuss their thoughts. How do we find the important questions that plague our society? And how do we create meaningful solutions that have a positive impact on all of those around us? Ever since 6th grade, I've been tinkering with computers. I materialized this passion further when I had the opportunity to tutor some children who had limited access to technology. From here, I created FixN'Give, which is an organization that helps give computers and other technology back to schools and other refugees in Cincinnati who may not otherwise have access to technology. And we all know how great of a role the internet plays in our lives today, as well as in education. I would now like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Mahendra Vora. Mr. Vora is a highly successful, self-made businessman who, with the help of his passion and relentless attitude, created the Vora Innovation Park, which now employs over 2,000 people and has over a dozen companies. He is an idea person who loves to explore new frontiers, challenging the status quo. To me, he has been a tremendous role model and a tremendous mentor. He will not only be our first speaker for this night, but also our panel moderator. I've had the experience to firsthand see how infectious his energy is. And one of his passions is to ask the hard why questions. And I'm sure that he'll take every opportunity to do so tonight. Please welcome Mr. Mahendra Vora.
You know, when I talk about fundraising, one of my biggest things is I tell all these entrepreneurs that when you want to raise money and you go to some successful people who have money, ask for advice and you'll get money. Because if you ask for money, you can only get advice. And interestingly, Milan did that to me. So he came to me and said, what do you think of a show like this or event like this? It's unbelievable. Milan, great job. Just look at this. 100 years. We think that innovation happened in the last 15, 20 years because the internet came in 90s, early 90s to commercial world. Because mobile came right around at the end of 90s and because all the app world came over the last 7, 8, and 9 years. And innovation has not started just last 15 years. It has become more prevalent in our day-to-day use because we cannot live without that device and that app. But we have been using innovations. That car that was invented 120 years ago. That airplane that was invented 100 years ago. That light bulb, Thomas Edison, Bell Whitney. I mean, you look at the telephone, you look at every major thing we use. That antibiotic, first antibiotic. In healthcare, in information technology, electrical engineering, mechanical, some amazing innovations have happened, and millions of people have done their PhDs after those innovations, improved those technologies, and today we are benefiting from all that. Last 15 years, Google, Facebook, Pinterest, that's what we see. The question is, can you imagine what's next? What's the next internet? Are we going to be flying in air? Are we going to be reading human minds? So my simple message is, no excuses. None offered, none tolerated. That should be our message.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vora, for that amazing talk. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure the audience did as well. I would next like to introduce Mr. Bob Coy. Mr. Coy is the CEO of CincyTech, a local seed-stage venture capital firm here in Cincinnati. I've known Mr. Coy for about 2 years now, and he is one of the most kind and generous persons I've met, and been a tremendous mentor and role model to me. Please welcome Mr. Bob Coy.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Milan. And thanks for organizing this symposium. It's really a pleasure to be here tonight with so many enthusiastic students and teachers and parents. And I'd like to build off the point that this is really an exciting time in Cincinnati to start a company. So our mission at CincyTech is to help transform innovation into high potential technology companies. And I'll start with ingredients. You know, what are the ingredients of a really healthy entrepreneurial ecosystem? Well, the first is you need entrepreneurs with scalable ideas. The second is you need investors who are willing to invest in those entrepreneurs. And then lastly, you need consumers, venturesome consumers who are willing to buy new products. If you have those three things in place, you'll have a pretty vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem. Our role at CincyTech, as Milan said, is we're a seed stage investor. Today, CincyTech is the most active seed stage investor in our region. We have $56 million under management in our seed funds, and we're leading now about 80% of the seed deals in the Cincinnati region, so pretty significant market share. We have a software and a bioscience focus. For us, bioscience includes medical devices, pharmaceuticals, biotech, health tech, diagnostic equipment. You have to have an addressable market of at least $250 million a year to enable the business to scale up into a significant market. You have to have strong intellectual property or an intellectual anchor. An intellectual anchor is somebody who has deep domain expertise in an industry. A high gross margin business model, and for us, we look for business models that are 50 to 75% gross margin. And then founder who displays integrity and maturity about what it means to take other people's money.
Now, like Milan said, tonight it is my privilege to introduce to you Mr. Robert Beach. Now, Mr. Beach is an inventive entrepreneur who has worked in healthcare IT systems and biotechnology. Now, his current position is in Ecrine Systems. And what Ecrine Systems does is it basically analyzes sweat molecules to find health issues just through non-invasive procedures. Now, Ecrine Systems has recently introduced a $4 million Air Force contract, and they have also partnered with Gatorade to analyze the sweat of athletes to see what their issues are. I've always wondered why Milan had a sudden interest in sweat levels when we were working in mock trial and tennis. Now I know why. Mr. Robert Beach.
Thanks, Milan. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. Now, I looked the other day, and it's about 7.46 billion alive on the planet, growing rapidly every day. All of us sweat, because if you don't sweat, you're not alive. So this is an important biofluid for the future. So why are we after sweat? As was mentioned, we're about non-invasive, no needles, nothing stuck in the body, but the ability to derive information from sweat that can help medicine industry, sports, and other activities. We get a lot of jokes about sweat equity, Sweatville, sweatshops. To my left up there in blue is Gabi Begtrip. Gabi went off to college at 14. He got a PhD in physics from Berkeley. He is a nano-electrical expert. To Gabi's left is Keith Grimes, our President and Chief Operating Officer. Keith was a Navy SEAL from 1990 to 1999. Went back to school and got a master's degree in systems engineering and an MBA from Johns Hopkins, and is very involved with our work with defense and security. So what is our mission and focus? Many of you are probably wearing Fitbits right now, and or Apple Watches and other non-invasive biosensing technology that measures heart rate, respiration rate. You can do EKGs, things like that on the body. Our job in this, through sweat biomarkers, is to improve the predictive value or the actionable value of that data non-invasively. Our success translates across many industries. Milan was a part of our group last year. In fact, I stole from Milan's slideshow that he gave us. He got very fascinated with how to detect byproducts of cancer drugs for cancer patients, to help determine whether the drug is breaking down properly in their system to release the active ingredient so it can be effective. The last thing you want to do is treat a patient, have them incur the toxic effects of the drug but not get any benefit. We want to be on top of that sooner and be able to understand that. So he did a careful analysis of different drugs that would be amenable based on their profile for detection in sweat and being able to report that back in.
It is my honor to present our first women panelist to you, Dr. Jeannie Johan. She's currently the Vice President of Corporate Development at Enable Injections. Enable Injections makes dosing and injections easier and reliable for patients. I'm looking forward to learning more about how this homegrown idea is sweeping the world of healthcare delivery. Please welcome Dr. Johan.
And like a lot of entrepreneurship and innovation, I'm sure our founder and CEO, Mike Hooven, never expected that he would be producing this thing. He started with a whole different idea, but it's really evolved to be this amazing piece right here. Why is it so amazing? Maybe some of you can recognize this device. There are people who need chronic medications. That means they need really large volumes of this medication. And the only way that they can do this in the comfort of their own home is to fill this syringe with their medication, put a tube on the end, insert a needle to their tissue subcutaneously, carry this around or sit until the infusion has delivered into their body. How about if this little device was sticky on the bottom, you just placed it on your skin, pressed the button, put your shirt over it, and you went about doing your business. Once it was infused, the button would pop, throw it into the trash, and then get on with your day. And this little device is going to enable many people's day. It's going to allow for a very convenient and comfortable infusion of subcutaneous therapies, and there's many different subcutaneous therapies out there, so it has the potential to improve many people's lives.
Hi, today I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Larry Kavanagh, founding partner and CEO of Navistone, which uses a patent-pending process to transfer web browsing data into direct mail audiences. And there's a lot of cool applications that this can have. One of the cool things that he's going to be talking about today is using web browsing data to figure out where flu epidemics are starting by using the concentration of searches for flu-like symptoms and figuring out where that's coming from. Everyone join me in welcoming Mr. Kavanagh.
Thank you. I use technology to find, new ways to help businesses sell you more stuff. Before the 80s, companies would use demographic markers to figure out, they'd look at your age, they'd look at your income, look at your gender, and decide, should you receive a piece of direct mail? Well, as computing and really database capabilities grew dramatically in the late 80s and early 90s, all of a sudden we could look at the things you had bought before and create statistical models to predict what you were going to buy next. And as it turns out, what you've bought before is a great predictor of what you're going to buy next and much better than demographics. It's called digital display retargeting, and I'm pretty sure everybody in here kind of hates it. How many of you have gone to a website, then left that website and browsed other places and had ads that kind of followed you around? Have you had that happen? Yeah. So what's cool about that, I know there's a lot of things not cool, but what's cool about that is it's the first time we've been able to see browsing behavior data to try to figure out, what you're interested in, what kinds of products and what kind of offers we should be making to you. So I decided to go into that field. Now, in fact, I was trying to find what's the Achilles heel of it. And the weakness in digital display is that while it's very good at taking people who are just beginning to become interested in a product and sort of move them down the sales funnel till they're, to the point where they have more than sort of a passing interest, it's really bad at getting you to actually leap out and make a purchase. My idea was, I wonder if I could figure out how to use this internet browsing signal, but combine it with a much stronger converting form of advertising, direct mail. And so these are actually some real results. So we were 50% more effective than the classic way that the direct mail industry worked. So we thought we kind of had something this time. For this thing, we're at the forefront. In fact, we have a patent pending on our process to do this. And I thought, this time I think we've got something that would be investable.
Hearing from these inspiring speakers and panelists, I see my role as providing a way for everyone in the room, especially the students, to get involved with technology. And that's a really powerful thing, in my opinion, where you all are passionate about different things, maybe music, maybe fashion design. It could be anything, really. Take that passion that you're maybe worried about monetizing and turn it into something where you can make a lot of money and still live out your passion.
So we heard from some great speakers, innovators, entrepreneurs, seed funders. So we talk about commercial entrepreneurship so far. I wanted to add the color, social entrepreneur, which is he's a Harvard grad who worked for Morgan Stanley, witnessed some major IPOs, is now leading a nonprofit called Right to Play, where 1 million kids every week play. And I think the best thing I was talking to her when she said is that, a lot of businesses run commercial business or for-profit business like nonprofit. And you know what happens to them? The real art is to run a non-profit like for-profit. What is the next unicorn? Which is the next company that, you know what unicorn is, right? Unicorn, that's company that's worth more than $1 billion.
I think the next unicorn is sitting right next to me. I think Enable Injection could be a $1 billion company. Absolutely. It could be Ekron too.
And the one thing I found out that was the secret is the following. Investors fear missing a great opportunity more than they do making a bad bet. Just remember that. They don't want to be the one sitting on the park bench feeding the pigeons saying, I could have had Google and I didn't take the bet. All the rest of them can share the common story that they've made a bad bet. They all sit around and talk about that. The one that's slinking away is the one that had the shot at Google and blew it. So you have to think like that, appeal to that side of them. They don't want to miss this great opportunity you're presenting to them, and teach them why that's investor worthy, and then they will come in behind you.
Ask for advice, you'll get money.
Yeah, could I just add one point to that? Do what Milan did. 2 years ago, Milan just sent me an email out of the blue. I didn't know who he was. He knew Deanna Castellini, who recommended that he call. Milan got an internship with us that summer, and that led to an internship with Bob. So just, get plugged in somehow.
After working 14-hour days, what gets you up in the morning next day? What drives you to work? And you're doing social. There's not even money for you. Hopefully, maybe they give you salary, they don't, I don't know. But what drives you?
It's the results. For Right to Play, we are in 18 to 22 countries at any given time, depending on what war is happening in the world. We use play to teach kids life skills. Yesterday, ISIS killed 6 kids for playing soccer. Right? Right to Play uses soccer and other sports to bring hope to kids in refugee camps, kids in war-torn countries, and what we take for granted really saves these kids' lives.
Thank you. What you guys? I'm going to ask you a very pointed question, Chief. Enable Injection could be next unicorn. What gives you the most energy? The fact that it's going to be $1 billion and you're going to make $100 million, or the fact that it's going to really transform? Don't give me a politically correct answer, please. What really drives? Because this is what these kids need to know. What drives you?
I came to Cincinnati, a place I'd never heard of, because I really felt that I could help people's lives. Like, I knew that the brilliant engineers were here, that they would get this going. But this could be as great as it can be, but these brilliant engineers don't know how to sell this to the pharma companies. And if this doesn't get to the pharma companies, it'll never get to one patient. That's something I can do. That's something I will do and help make Enable Injections a $1 billion company.
All right, thank you. Great. So my first question, biggest mistake you made in your career as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, as a founder?
Wow.
Trying to be too many things at one time.
Okay, Judy?
Underestimating how long it takes.
Underestimating how long it takes. Bob?
Penny wise and pound foolish.
Absolutely. Larry?
Lost my confidence once.
Bob?
Failure is a prerequisite for success.
And you didn't learn that early enough. Is that a mistake? Oh, your problem is you never failed.
Well, if you come through a system that prizes always being right and making straight A's and always going in a linear fashion, and you want to be an entrepreneur, that works against you. You have to learn how to accept failure.
Right?
Trying to fit the mold.
Be original. Be authentic. Deanna?
Not taking the 2004 job offer from Facebook.
Great. Next question. Tell me the best thing you have done in your career. I don't care what it is, but best, financially or impact in the community.
I would say that I learned something that I didn't think I would ever be involved in. I learned a new skill.
Help develop some brilliant people, and I love mentoring.
Awesome. Tina?
Share what I do with my children who are here and still awake.
Thank you. Last question. One advice to students or parents.
Don't feel like you're out of your place. Be like Milan. Reach out to people, network, grow, and follow your passion.
The students, be well-grounded in the fundamentals, but life is more than just being good at taking tests. You have to sort of have street smarts as well. So I think you need both.
Advice to parents, don't pigeonhole your children. They don't have to be your clone.
Now, students learn resilience and perseverance.
As someone who employs a lot of younger people, my advice to parents is don't be too much of a helicopter because the kids don't know how to do anything. So let them try and let them fail.
Thank you all. I think, imagine a high school student organizing an event of this quality. The content, panelists, successful people, the diversity, and the depth and how profound their messages are. A high school student managing this, that is new economy. That is our kid. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to thank all of our speakers for coming out this night and helping share their vision of IT in Cincinnati. And I think we can all give them another big round of applause. I would also like to thank all of the volunteers wearing the FixN'Give sticker for helping make this event possible, including all of our introduction speakers. I would also like to thank all of my teachers and my counselors for their support, and I would also like to thank Mr. DiTullio, the theater director, and Mr. Twyford for helping make this event possible. As a token of my appreciation, I would like to express my gratitude with a book. I previously this summer had read Dr. Christensen's book, How Will You Measure Your Life? And that's an important question that I think we may all ask at some point. And Dr. Christensen is a professor at the Harvard Business School and an entrepreneur himself. And one of his previous books, The Innovator's Dilemma, was actually one of Steve Jobs' most favorite books, as he called it the most influential book as he brought Apple back to its forefront in technology. And I would now like to pass out all these books to our speakers. Wait. It's time for the raffle. So if you guys are interested in the raffle, we've had so many gracious local businesses donate to us, and it's now time to pull our first raffle prize. Okay, wait guys, I think you're really gonna like the first prize. Our first prize for this raffle is the new BMW i8 that you guys all saw outside. So there's still time to buy your tickets. If everyone wants to go ahead and...
It's not in the budget. You're not Oprah. I'm gonna take it.
I think I'll let Sam and Karthik take it from here.
Jeeves. All right. So we have a bunch of gift cards. They're tons of fun. We'll go through them pretty quick because I know everyone wants to get home, especially the children in the audience. So first up, we have a gift card to Massage Envy. It's one free massage. I know it's awful enticing. All right, so, wow, this is an awful coincidence. I have my history teacher, Brad Kirk. Next, we have Trios, $25 gift card to...